What's up, guys? We're back, round one with CJ, and today we're going to talk about the new vaccine mandate that Joe Biden has laid out for federal employees and the backlash and controversy that is causing on all sides. So let's start the clock and let's just get right into it. So Joe Biden has done kind of a soft vaccine mandate, I'd say, for federal workers, where he's saying basically you either got to get the jab or you got to get tested. I think like every week or something like that. So the anti-vax crowd is losing their minds, basically saying this is the beginning of tyranny, and this is overstepping government overstepping their bounds, even though this is just for federal employees, and private companies are still going to do what they're going to do. But my thing is there's a little too much overreaction on this because he does leave an out. I would say you would have grounds for some worry if he was just saying everyone's got to get the jab, federal mandate, they're going door to door. But that's not what he said. He said there's an option for you to get tested every week. So that's just saying like that's inconvenient and that's annoying, and it is, but that's fair and within Joe Biden's, I think, rights and empowers his president to do, because that's just like saying we already have vaccine mandates for like going to school and stuff for measles and all that stuff. So yes, it would be inconvenient for you to not be able to go to that school, but like that is what it is. So this is similar in terms of that to the consequences. Yes, you can be unvaccinated and that's your choice, it's your body, that's your choice. And I think that's your right. But at the same time, that doesn't mean things aren't going to be a little bit inconvenient for you. I don't think you should be barred from participating in society. But at the same time, like, yeah, things might be a little bit inconvenient because right now this is still a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Just by the data, 95% of the people in these ERs are unvaccinated. And that's the number. That's until that changes, the I feel like the anti-vax is kind of losing the argument that they're trying to make against a vaccine just via facts and data. Like I said, I defend your right to put whatever you want in your body and to do your own thing. It's America and your freedom. But yeah, there might be some consequences and things might be a little inconvenient. So I don't think this is overreach, but I don't think any of the government should go any further than this, honestly, in terms of forcing people to get the vaccine. I think it's a little kind of pathetic and ironic that there's a deadly pandemic and virus going around and a free vaccine, and then we become so politicized and polarized as a country that even that's become a political issue, taking the free life-saving vaccine. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think we need to try to convince people to get the vax with the data, but if not, I don't think you should be trying to penalize them again. I don't think people should be turned away from the hospital, but at the same time, I think they should have a personal responsibility to, if you're going to trust your immune system and roll the dice, to roll the dice, because right now it is the unvaccinated overburdening the medical system. But beyond that, if that wasn't a just logistical issue, I would be all for your freedom to do what you want to do. But right now, I think Biden is in the right. What's up, guys? We're back. It's time for round one with CJ, and we're gonna revisit critical race theory thanks to the story of Utah Jazz superstar Donovan Mitchell apparently got in the way of Utah Republicans' efforts to whitewash history in school. So let's get into it. Let's start the clock. So big ups and big shout outs to Donovan Mitchell, Utah Jazz superstar, because apparently he threw a wrench in the Utah Republicans' plan to enact a bill that is similar to what has gone on here in Florida and some other places, where they Republicans want to ban critical race theory from school. But as I explained in an earlier video, there is no movement to teach critical race theory in schools, in elementary schools or middle schools. It's usually something that is taught post grad and that has nothing to do with indoctrinating children. So when they say they want to ban critical race theory, they want to ban anything that makes white people look bad in the face of history. So history is what they want to ban and to whitewash it further. And it's pretty stupid, and it's a hill that Republican politicians are trying to die on right now because they don't have anything else to help the American people. So they have to invent a problem and then try to solve the problem that they invented. So that's the grift on the right. But on a deeper aspect, what made this story viral is the I guess the Republican in Utah were talking about how Donovan Mitchell just doesn't understand the issues and they need to educate him. They need to educate him because there's no way a young black man would be educated enough to know what he's talking about, even though he's correct 100% on this issue. So Yeah, he does know what he's talking about. And the people that don't know what they're talking about are the ghouls that are the Republican politicians in Utah. You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just don't. If you think critical race theory is something that the left is trying to indoctrinate your children with, you're just a dumbass and you don't know what you're talking about. That's not a priority. People are looking for healthcare right now. They're looking for higher wages during the pandemic. They're looking to just survive. No one's trying to implement critical race theory to like 7 year olds. That's not a thing that happens. But at the same time, if you want to ban everything that makes white people look bad in American history, that you're going to have to do a lot of banning. There's going to be a lot of censorship, and I don't know how much is going to be left to teach. So yes, you can't whitewash history any further than it already is. Our education system is already quite whitewashed as it is. So to try to further modify history to whatever means you want is pretty pathetic, and it's not a real problem. So big ups to Donovan Mitchell for calling them on out on that BS, and hopefully this is something that dies on its own because really it is an imaginary problem that the Republican politicians are using it again because they have nothing. They have nothing on the board to help the American people through this pandemic. They have no solutions. They'll criticize Biden, but they don't have any better ideas. So this is what they have to reach for. Pathetic. Guys, we're back. It's time for round one with CJ. And today we're going to discuss Nancy Pelosi's comments this week that we need a big, strong Republican Party. Oh boy. Let's start the clock. No, we don't, Nancy. We don't need a big, strong Republican Party. The party that elected Donald Trump and tried to do an insurrection January 6th, that Republican Party, the Republican Party that dutifully serves their donors when they had a president, their flagship bill under the Trump presidency was tax breaks for the ultra rich and tax breaks for corporations. That was their big accomplishment. We don't need a Republican Party that is steeped in white supremacy, that is draped in the Confederate flag and has some neo-Nazi ties and roots. No, we don't need a strong Republican Party. A Republican Party that has been basically devoted to blocking progress on anything. I mean, it's nothing wrong with being a Republican voter to an extent because they get sold a bed of lies by their politicians. But in terms of the Republicans in DC, no, we don't need a strong Republican Party. A strong Republican Party means nothing gets done in DC. It means we'll never have any type of voting rights. It means we'll never have any type of gun reform. It means we'll never have any type of healthcare system that is not for profit. So no, we just don't need a strong Republican Party. We don't. We'd actually be better served if that party didn't exist at all. Honestly, both parties, Democrat and Republican parties, need to be reworked from the ground up because both of them are pathetic and they're just serving the same goal. This is WWE. This is theater, political theater. That's all it is, all their disagreements. So no, we don't need a strong Republican Party. We also don't need a pathetic, weak, hapless Democratic Party either, led by people like Nancy Pelosi. And this is just a long line of examples of why no one outside of the elite DC circle has any modicum of respect for Nancy Pelosi because she's so out of touch with the needs of real working people, of them being struggling, and it's frankly pathetic. So no, Nancy, we don't need a strong Republican Party. We need your party, the Democratic Party, to have a backbone, which seems, you know, just impossible at this point. I mean, it's no point to try to wish for that in the 11th hour. They had 8 years under Obama to have a backbone, and they decided to bend over backwards to the Republicans who wouldn't even acknowledge his presidency. So we're getting more of that, more of the same. And no, we need to tear down the two-party system and actually cater to the needs of the American people on both sides. Republican voters, they might be lean more conservative, but they also want a living wage. They also want a healthcare system. There are things that we can unite with those voters against both parties. So it's not a Democrat versus Republican. It's about DC elites versus the rest of us, and that's how we need to reframe the battle.